the Bootstrap page, correct? If you remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So after importing those images, I told you, right, that these are the breakpoints we use in Bootstrap. So for example, for smaller screen, I've used your SM, correct? And for example, like I don't know what was the task given to you, but yeah. So for example, if you had to divide your page into 3 sections, and in first section, if you have to display an image, okay. So here, in place of first program, what you'll do is you'll copy that img src code, correct? Img src is equal to image ka link which you want to put in. Okay, so if you run this program, I'll just run it and show it to you. So if you run this program here, right, for if in first program you should what should happen is your an image should be displayed. In place of second program, a second image should be displayed. In place of third program, third image should be displayed, correct? So similar to this, you just have to, instead of like I'll open that program. So instead of first program, what you have to do is you have to use an image tag. Img src is equal to, one second, let me just show you. So if you use this code, okay, just copy this, paste it here, okay. But I'm sure that it will not run right now. Let me just rerun it. I've saved the code. Let me refresh it. Yeah, image is not coming here. Can anybody tell me why the image is not coming here? We have Sneha, we have Shilpa. Guys, can anybody tell me why that image is not being displayed? Redepa, we have Shilpa, Sneha, Jagan. Jagan, can you tell me why my image is not being displayed while I'm running this code here? Code looks good, right? But why this image is not being displayed here? What would be an possible reason for this? Ramya, any quick responses you have on this? Why my image is not getting
Ma'am,
displayed?
because we are using a particular CDN, ma'am. So maybe for that sake, it's not running.
No. So I'll tell you why. So if you see my Bootstrap, this was the document, right? This is where my program I'm running in, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then here you see in this particular folder, do you see any particular image which is dia8.jpg? You're not able to see here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so the source is not existing here, correct? So you're
Hmm.
able to see that like my code is running here, correct? But you're
Hmm.
not able to see the image because in the file path, I don't have any such image. Okay, so
Yeah.
let me put an image there first. Yeah, so this is the image. I'll control C and put this in Bootstrap ka section. Okay, now I'll rerun that. I'll refresh it. And then you'll be able to see that I have that image here, correct? So I think this was the task which was given to you, okay? So in place of first program, second program, so you just make sure that you align this 500 and 600 in such a way that it is aligned properly. Okay, let me just control this. Yeah, so you're able to see, right, in place of my first grid section, I've placed in first program. In second program, you just paste a second image. Third place, so what I'll do is let me just copy paste this image only, okay, and put everywhere. Okay, let me just save it and let me just rerun it. So you're able to see, right, 3 images, and what was the task of using grid was like the images won't overlap. Okay, so how I, like, can anybody tell me how would I inspect this particular page and see how it would look on different screens? I think I taught in the last class how to inspect a code. So you have to click on inspect element. Here you'll get this option, okay, and then in responsiveness you'll be able to see iPhone XR, iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone XR series. So you'll be able to see how my program is looking on different web pages. Okay, so any doubts still on Bootstrap topic, or anything being taught so far? Ramya or Redepa, Shilpa M,
No, ma'am.
anybody? So guys, just make sure, right? Whenever you've been like, you'll tell somewhere that you've done internship at Learnovate, right? So you're being asked like, and this is Bootstrap is a very different topic, okay? So just make sure that you go through that video again and again to get a quick view, okay? Because Bootstrap hasn't been taught in any of our school or college topics, okay? So just to give a brief overview again of what Bootstrap is. So what you have to do is you have to open Bootstrap, go to the Bootstrap page. Just remember one thing, okay? Like how do we run a Bootstrap program is just copy the CDNs from the Bootstrap official page, or what we do is install it via a package manager. You can use npm or you can use gem to install Bootstrap via package manager, but an easy approach is to include it via CDN. What CDN is? CDN is content delivery network, okay? So just import these two CDNs in the header section of your program, and then there are thousands of inbuilt components which Bootstrap offers. So one such example is grid, second is flex, then we have navigation bars and everything being available, okay? So how Bootstrap is easy in today's world. So for example, it will give you ready-made codes, okay? So for example, a simple warning, check in, out, check out. So all these codes you can just copy paste in your program and then just run, okay? Am I understandable?
Yes, ma'am.
So Ramya, actually, I was very impressed because I just got that query that you were doing it yourself, and then you had that question in mind. Okay, but next time, whenever you have any questions, you can also I'll ask the HR to redirect it to me directly so that I'll help you in more better way. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So let's start with today's topic. Okay, so the topic for today is JavaScript. Okay, I know that JavaScript is a very easy topic, but I'll just can anybody tell me what JavaScript is all about and how JavaScript functions? Because I know I was also a student for BCA and MCA, so I know this is a very popular topic, and we have this in all of our semesters and everywhere. So, for example, if anybody is asking you what JavaScript is, what JavaScript is doing in web development, how you will answer me, Jagan? Guys, don't be on mute, okay? Everybody, please unmute yourself and be responsive in this session at least. Okay, so I'm assuming nobody is aware. So I'll start with the session. Okay. So the agenda of today's meet would be like I'll be telling you what JavaScript is, how JavaScript is different from HTML and CSS. I'll give you a brief overview of JavaScript introduction, and then moving ahead, we'll be talking about how what are the output statements in JavaScript, what are the variables available, what are the keywords available in JavaScript, how can we make a function call in JavaScript. Okay. So we all know, right, that I think there was an image on the slide. Why that image is not coming up? Okay. Okay, let me just explain you. Okay. So what JavaScript does is like we all know that we have HTML. Okay. So what HTML would do is it would define the content of my web page. Okay. It would provide me a template or it would provide me a structure. Okay. What CSS would do is like CSS would beautify my web page. Okay. I can input an internal CSS, an external CSS, or I could style my buttons. Okay, but how my web page would understand what action I have to perform on that. So, for example, consider an example of using a job application page, or consider Flipkart for an instance. Okay, so you'll be able to see that web page. Okay, so the structure of Flipkart or the structure of any job portal is nothing but HTML. If you see any beautification, there is nothing but a CSS. But what JavaScript would do is it would program the behavior of my web page. Okay, so for example, if you click on a submit button, so for example, you have name, you have a button to upload your resume, you have place to write your gender. Okay, but how, where that content would go, how that is decided, it is decided by JavaScript. Okay, the behavior of all those elements of my web page, it is decided by JavaScript. Okay, so one such example would be, actually I had an image here, but I don't know. Let me just show you here. So if you see this image, I'll show you. So class, is this image visible? How can we relate this image to JavaScript? Can anybody try to give me an answer here? Ramya or anyone? So
No,
class,
ma'am.
like,
I'm never about JavaScript, ma'am.
yes, can you come again, Ramya?
I'm unaware about the JavaScript, ma'am. So don't know.
Okay, okay. So I'll try to answer you. So Ramya, for example, if you go in an interview, okay, and if somebody is asking you what is JavaScript, what is HTML, and then what is CSS, okay. So how you'll answer that person is, so for example, if you consider a human skeleton, okay, so similar to what we have on Flipkart, that entire structure is nothing but an HTML, okay. The human skeleton will give an example as an HTML, okay. So for example, if I dress up well, okay, I groom myself, I make myself presentable, okay, that would be a CSS, okay. But what if I'm just looking good, okay, consider a miniature outside these shops, okay, it's not doing anything, it's just standing like that, okay. But how it is different from a human body? We are breathable, we are living organism. So how it is different? We have arteries, we have veins in our human body, and what it does is it will carry out blood, it will filter the blood, okay. We have heart which functions, okay. So what it is doing is it is giving a behavior to my body, right? I have my hands, I can make a movement. So similar to that, if you make a website but it is not a responsive website, it is not doing any function, on the click of my button the thing is not going, it is not going anywhere. So what it would do is it would give me a function or it would give me a behavior, okay. So this is just an example which I've just shown you. So HTML is nothing but a human structure in this example. CSS is like if I've groomed myself. What JavaScript is doing here is, for example, I have a lot of functions in my body. I have arteries, I have veins, I have a heart, I have a lung. So what it is doing, it is performing some functions, right? So similar to that, JavaScript to program the behavior of my web page. Okay. So you can just consider this example, because with examples we'll be able to relate, and then we'll be able to learn quickly. Okay. So I hope I'm able to give a clear differentiation between what HTML, CSS, and what JavaScript is all about. Okay. So JavaScript is a program, a list of programming statements. Okay, JavaScript adds functionality to your program. JavaScript is the programming language of the web. Okay, so we know we have C, we have C++, we have Python nowadays. Okay, so how we'll write a code? We'll write a code to perform an addition of two numbers. So similar to that, how you'll perform that function in HTML? It is nothing but it is through JavaScript. So for example, if I want to perform an addition of two numbers here in HTML, what I'll use? I'll use JavaScript. Okay, I'll use JavaScript to declare variables and all those things. Okay, so it gives a functionality to my program. Moving ahead, so we know that we have variables. Okay, so we have variables in C, we have variables in C++. Okay, but how to declare those variables? So for example, in C we use varchar, we have as a variable, we have integer, we have float. Okay, so in all those languages we have those things. Okay, but here in JavaScript, how you will declare a variable? We'll be using let. Okay, we'll be using var, we'll be using let, or we'll be using const to declare variables here. Okay, so JavaScript uses all these three predefined keywords to declare any variables. And how will assign a value to the variable? Using an equal to operator here. Okay, so JavaScript uses arithmetic operators such as plus, minus, multiplication, division, similar to the compute values which we have. Okay, so we have JavaScript var, let, const. Okay, so just remember these three things as of now. So in JavaScript to declare variables, we will be using var, let, and const. Okay, and an equal sign to assign a value to my variable. Okay, I guess this is similar to all other programming languages as well. But the only different thing is we have where to declare, we have let, and then we have const. Okay. But in other programming languages, we have integer, we have float, we have varchar, and we have all other things. Okay. So let's move ahead. And then we have output statement. Okay. So in C, can anybody tell me what is the output statement we use in C programming language? So for example, if I want to print hello world, or if I just want to print anything, if I want to print any output statement in C language or in C++ or in any language, if you're aware of any output statement. Okay, so if you know in C, C++, we'll be using C in, we'll be using C out, we have printf, we have scanf. Okay, so similar to that in JavaScript, we have inner.html, we have document.write, we have window.alert, we have console.log, all this printing statements. And why this printing statement is used? So for example, if you want to display something to the public, for example, if I want to display this particular thing, JavaScript output, so how I will write? Either I can write using window.alert, either I can write through document.write, or either I can write through console.log. So all these four options we have to print. Okay, so for example, if I'm using window.alert, so how it will print? It will print using an alert box. So how an alert gets popped up in our phones that be careful that you have exhausted 500 GB of your data today, or 500 MBs of your data is already being exhausted, or 50%. So how we get an alert somewhere, something like this. If you want to print any message as an alert, so we'll be using window.alert. Similar, if I want to write into the browser console, I'll be using console.log. And then if I want writing into the HTML output, I'll be using document.write. So depending on the situation, I'll be using all these output statements today. Okay. And then we have keywords in Java. So for example, I told you, right, how to declare a variable in JavaScript. Okay, so var, let, and const declare a variable, declares a block of variables, declares a block of constant. And then in C and C++, we know, right, that we have if, we have switch, we have for. So all these things we can use. So for example, if I want to print some values, okay, so for example, if I want to print a list of students who have scored marks greater than 50, so I'll be using if. Okay, so for example, any conditional statements, if I'm willing to print, so I'll be using if statement. And then switch marks a block of statement to be executed in different cases. We have for looping statements, we have functions which will execute a block of code, and then exit functions using return. Then we have try, we have catch. Okay, so if we, I guess it, you'll be realizing that yes, I know this, because all these things are very similar to C and then other programming languages. So what JavaScript will typically do, so it will provide a behavior to my code. Okay, it will provide a behavior to my web page. Okay, so for all these things we'll be using JavaScript. So let's just see how to declare a function. So JavaScript statements can be grouped together into a code block inside a curly bracket. Okay, the purpose of the code blocks is to define a statements to be executed together. Once place you will find grouped together into blocks is in JavaScript functions. So for example here, and how you will declare a function, you'll declare a function using the function keyword. Okay, and then followed by square bracket, and using curly brackets you'll be declaring those two statements. Okay, let's just go ahead. I'll just teach you what this document.getElementById is, okay, while I'm performing the code. Okay, so let's just see a quick example. So here, whenever we start our HTML code in JavaScript, what we do is we use the script tag. Okay, an opening script tag and a closing script tag. And as I told you, what we'll do, we use document.write to print any kind of statements in JavaScript. So here I have used document.write to print hello world. Okay, class, any doubts till now on any of the topics of this slide? Ramya, you have any doubts, or Sneha, or anyone, if you're having any doubts, I'll just revisit through that slide.
At the place of document.write, we can use window.alert also, right?
Yes, correct. We can use window.alert also.
And console.log also we can use, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, all these things are, where was that statements? Yeah. So basically, all the statements you have been seeing here is just an output statement. You can use any of them. Okay. But here, for example, if I'll use window.alert, I'll show you. Okay, when I run this code. So for example, you want a normal display like this, okay, JavaScript output, something like this. You don't want a user to be alerted. Okay, so in that case, you'll be using document.write. And then inner.html when you'll use. So for example, you have lot of different entities in your program. I'll just run this and then show you, so you'll get a clear idea. So if you want to display or if you want to differentiate each of your entities with an ID, so in that case, you'll be using inner.html. Console.log is similar to window.alert. Is similar to document.write. So there is no different use case. Okay, so I'll just run a code also. Okay, so I have made this template. So what I'll do is, here, right, we use document.html, HTML opening tag, body tag, and h1 tag I have just used to JavaScript introduction. Okay, so what I'll do is, inside my script, what I'll do is I'll write document dot write, and then inside document dot write, what I'll do is, I told you, right, that we have to use this, and whatever statement I want to print, hello, WORLD, hello world today. Okay, so I have written here document dot write, hello world today. I'll do Control S. I'll save this on my desktop. Let's save it with today1.html. Okay, I've saved this on my desktop. Save. Okay, so let's run this code. Let's go on my desktop page, today.1. You see here, right, hello world today. So it is printed. Okay, so what I'll do is, I'll print this in the form of alert also. Okay, I'll go here, and then what I'll do is, I'll write here window.alert. Okay, and inside my alert box, I've written hello world today, and then Control S. Let's go to Opera browser. You can see here, Ramya, right, the difference.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you want to display anything as an alert message. So for example, if you want how you'll get, so for example, if you open any suspicious website, you'll get an alert, right? Be careful, this page contains cookies or something like that. So this is similar to that message pop-up. So if you want to display anything of that such, so you can use alert box. Okay, so what I'll do is, instead of this, you can even print arithmetic operations here in windows.alert. So for example, if I want to perform 2 plus 2, and then I do Control S. Let's go to this browser. Okay, if I run this again, I'll get here that my message is 4. Okay, so these are the two statements I'm done with. Okay, and then what I'll do is, you wanted to learn about how to use inner.html, right? So I'll tell you that as well. So how you have to perform that is, inside the script tag, what you'll do is, first let me just show you is how you'll declare variables in JavaScript. Okay, so let a comma b comma c. Okay, so I have declared this three variables. Okay, so how in C++ you'll use float, or you'll use integer. But here there are three ways, right? We can use let, we can use var, or we can use const to declare a variable. So here I'm using let a, b, c. I have declared three variables. Okay, and what I'll do is, I'll give a value to my variables. Okay, a is equal to 5 I have given. So for example, if I want to distinguish this three variable declaration, so I'm using semicolon here. A is, I think this is similar in C as well. We use semicolons to do that. Okay, and then b is equal to 5. Okay, and then I want to perform an operation. Okay, so what I'll do is, c is equal to a divided by b, and then I'll end this, and I want to print the value of c. Okay, so I told you this two statements right now, document.write and alert one, windows.alert. So what I'll do is, now I'll use inner HTML. Okay, CUMENT document dot get element by I is capital ID, and then here I'll be declaring an ID. Okay, right now it is not there, but I'll show you where it is coming from. Dot inner HTML. Make sure, class, that inner is small, HTML is in caps. Okay, is equal to C. And then what I'm doing here is, I want to print the value which is available in C. Okay, so what this ID is, okay, so we all know, like, we have our Aadhaar cards, we have our PAN cards, okay. So what it is giving us is, it will give me a unique identifier. Okay, so for example, in my entire HTML code I have a lot of variables C, right? So how it will come to know that which C I have to go through? Okay, so for that what we do is we use an unique identifier. So how an ID is declared? So I'll go here, I'll use a paragraph tag, p id is equal to let's say demo. So I'm declaring here demo, and then let's end my paragraph tag /p. And then what I'll do here is I'll come here and I'll use that same demo. Okay. Okay, so demo was my ID for this C. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do Control S, and what should be my output? 5 divided by 5. It should give me 1 as an output. Okay. So let me save this code. document dot get element by id class. Just make sure that E is caps, B is caps, and then again I is caps. So why I am telling you again and again is JavaScript is highly case sensitive. Okay, so if you make any caps lock or smaller case or lower case thing, you'll get this error. Okay, so you're able to see here, right? I'm getting an one as an output. So let me just do one thing. I'll change here to 6. Okay. Control S. Go to Opera. It is giving me this option, right? Ramya, was this understandable? Ramya, Sneha, Redipa, Gagan. Are you able to understand how you'll program in HTML using JavaScript?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you, Sneha. Ramya, was it understandable to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So like in web development, if you have to code, so you'll use all this JavaScript functions. We'll be using. So let me just show you one more example. So we have string functions. You know what are string functions? Any guesses? We have string functions in C, C++. So in, for example, if you have given a word, for example, let's consider learnovate. You've been asked to calculate the length of this particular string. So we use string functions for that. Let me just quickly give you. So I don't need this anymore. Okay, I'll remove this. Okay, so here class I have used let, right? I'll show you how I'll use where as well. Okay, so what I'm doing is where str. Okay, where str is equal to let me just say welcome. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll calculate the length of this particular string using the inbuilt JavaScript functions. Okay, so I'll declare one more variable, and then in that variable I'll store the length. Okay, so str dot length. Okay, str dot length, and then come out of this, and then after welcome also I'll enter a semicolon, and then what I'll use is I'll use document.write, document.write, and then inside this what I want to print this length. Okay, so inside this what I'll write len. I'll I'll end this, and then this is already ended. Okay, so usually what it should do is it should give me the length of this particular string. Okay, so let me just Control S. Let me just rerun here. Okay, so what the output which I'm getting is 7, right? So let's just calculate the length of my string here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in this way, using length, I can use. So what? Let me just explain this program. So I have declared two variables. Okay, the first variable is str. The second variable is len. So in my first variable, I have stored a string which is welcome. In the second string, what I have used is in my second declaration, what I have used is I have declared a variable which is len, and then what I'm doing is this particular variable's length I wanted to calculate, right, and which is stored in str variable. Okay, so what I'm doing is str dot inbuilt function is length. Okay, and then again I want to print this, so I'm using len. Okay, and then I'm printing the length of this particular variable. Okay, and then what we'll do is, so for example, let's just do this to uppercase. Okay, So what we'll do is str dot. So there are a lot of inbuilt functions, class. I'll just cover some. Two. And then again, class, I told you JavaScript is highly case sensitive. So just make sure that you're following that. So for example, here as well, U is caps, C is caps. Okay, is in uppercase. Okay, make sure that it is always in capital. I'll make a mistake also and then show you how it affects. Okay, so str dot to uppercase. So for example, I want to print this welcome into uppercase. Okay, so all caps locks should be there. So Control S. Let me just refresh. Okay, so it converted, right, my lowercase into uppercase. Okay, let me just make a mistake here as well. So what I'll do is I'll use U as small now. Okay, it's a mistake which I'm doing. And then output should be expected here, right? And then you'll see that the output will not come. Is it visible? I'm getting no output because JavaScript is highly case sensitive and we have to make sure that we are following all these things. Okay, let me just rerun the code again and we can see here welcome. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do it into lower case as well and show you lower. Okay, Control S. Rerun this code. So welcome is now being displayed into lowercase. Okay, and then we have so for example, let's say I have welcome class. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to replace this class with some other keyword maybe. Okay, so what is the function available is to replace. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just remove this str dot replace replace. And then what I want to replace, I want to replace class with some new variable. Okay, so here what we there would be two arguments which will be passing in this particular value. So current would be the existing value. So for example, existing value would be class, and I want to replace this with maybe let's say today. Okay, welcome today. Okay, and then again I'm printing my output. So the function which I used here is replace. Okay, I have Control S. Okay, so it is being replaced with welcome today. Let's just go back to our code. Welcome class, it is being replacing with welcome today. Was this understandable? So just make sure class that with replace string function, we'll be having two arguments being passed. One would be the existing one which we want to replace, and then the second would be the newer value. Okay. And then what we'll do is I'll show you one more function. Let's just remove this str with for example, I want to find out character at a particular position. Okay, so I want to find out what is the character at a position 3. Okay, so let's just do that. Str dot char. Again, a is caps, t is small, and then I want to find out the character at third position. Okay, and then let's just print it. So character at third position is C. Okay. So anybody, any class, any guesses why character at third position came as C and not as L? Guys, any guesses? This is like very basic. Why the character at third position C came and not L?
Ma'am, is it because it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3?
Yes, correct. And what is that word called? Like, what is that technical term called? I understand that it starts from 0. Who was the one who answered? Because I was on switch.
Me, ma'am. Sneha.
Okay, yeah, Sneha. So your answer was very correct. It was because it starts with 0, and the technical term associated with it is indexing. Okay, so indexing, there would be a topic in your C++ indexing of arrays, So every time whenever you have an one dimensional or a two dimensional array, indexing will always start at 0. Okay, so we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so how my indexing would be placed? So for example, at 0th position we'll be having W, at first position we'll be having E, at second position we'll be having L, at third position we'll be having C. So that's why when I wrote here character at 3, C was printed, because the indexing started from 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this particular, you were correct that it is starting from 0, but this concept is known as indexing in array. Okay, any doubts, class? I guess I was able to cover most of the topics related to JavaScript.
Ma'am, then what about looping? What is called looping, ma'am?
Looping like where looping? Looping in JavaScript?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. So for example, you're aware of loops in C, right?
Not that much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
uh,
mm-hmm.
what you mentioned is zero-based indexing, right?
Yes.
That 0, 1, 2, 3 called as.
Mhm.
The same way we calling like zero-based looping also. Like, what is that called, ma'am?
No, Ramya, you are incorrect here. What we do here is, I'll just show you on web as well. Okay. Actually, there is a tabular form which is being drawn. Okay, I'll show you array indexing. Okay. Images. Okay, so you go here. If you see this image, okay. So because I did not wanted to draw this, I am opening this directly. Okay, so if you see here, what it is doing is, so for example, this is my given array, okay, 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 4, 5, okay. And then for example, in this place, you can imagine welcome string as well, okay. Imagine your WELCOME. So what indexing would do is, every time whenever an element is, whenever, so for example, if I'm writing a program to find out the third element, okay, so every time it would start indexing from 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, so this is what indexing concept is, finding 10th in the array. 10 is not present in this array, 5, 4 is present in this, and finding 4th in the array. So we have this program, okay, and then I guess you're saying that how we'll write this program using C, right? For example,
Yes,
finding a
ma'am.
particular element, for example, 6th. Okay, so I think you're saying that looping, this is called looping and not indexing, correct?
Maybe, ma'am. I got
Yeah.
confused at this point.
Mm-hmm. No, no, no. You're correct. But how you'll write it? Like you'll use a for statement like this: for I is equal to 0. Okay. So for example, why I is equal to 0? Because my indexing would start at 0. Okay. I is less than equal to, and how many elements are there in my array? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Less than equal to 6. Okay. And then comma I plus plus. Okay, so this is looping. So what it would do is, it would try to go and find out it will start every time, it would start at a 0 element, and then it will look, if it will see that is my I less than or equal to 6. No, it is not less than or equal to 6. Then it will go and increment I plus plus. Okay, so this is looping is, but looping and indexing is complete different tasks. It is not same. Indexing is like
Okay.
every time my array indexing would start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I want to find out a particular element, I'll give the index of that particular element. So we are aware, I guess, we have bubble sort, we have selection sort, all these things. So there we use this looping concept. So what it would do is, every time in my array using index, I'll go and find out for that particular element. So in web development, if you want to program or if you want to write any addition or subscription program, we'll be using JavaScript to provide functionality. Okay. So this was the example which I gave. The basic skeleton would be my HTML, which would give a structure to my code. If I just design myself, I would be a CSS. And then if you see, we in our human body, we have arteries, we have veins, we have a heart which would used to pump the blood. So this is basically doing is, what it is doing is, it is providing a functionality to my body. Okay, it is making me functional. Okay, so what JavaScript does is, it makes an HTML or CSS program functional. Okay, so here see this, document the web page you're getting an HTML in the current page, placement matters, all these things. I'll share this slide and I'll also try to share all the codes which I did for today. Okay, any doubts anybody is having?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. I don't know, guys, what is the temperature at your end? Sneha, Shilpa, what is the weather temperature there? Like, weather I'm asking about. How is the weather at your end? Guys, this is not a technical question, so everybody can unmute and then start talking.
Ma'am, in Bangalore, 34, ma'am.
Okay, and like, is it hot?
Yes, ma'am.
And then how about waters in Bangalore? Are you able to get waters now? Because
No,
the other
ma'am.
day I
It's
read
too
that it
difficult to get water.
was. So you're
We
staying at
have to wait for 2 days or 3 days for to get a water, ma'am.
you're staying at PG or you're staying at your parents' home?
PG, ma'am.
Okay. So where are you staying in Bangalore?
Kudlugate, ma'am. Near
Where?
Electronic
Where?
City Store.
Kundanalli.
Kudlugate.
Okay. Actually, I'm not aware of this
After
place.
Bomnalli, ma'am. After Bomnalli.
Okay. I was there in Bangalore for a year and a half, and I used to stay at Whitefield PG. Whitefield is a
Oh, that's
place.
too far, ma'am. We have to
Yes.
travel like 3 hours from my place.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, at my place also at that time we used to get water after every 1 day. So that was very difficult. And that's why I did not like Bangalore.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's like we have to wait for 2 days to get
Yeah.
a tanker.
Mm-hmm. And is that service chargeable or it's a separate